Thank you very much, Director Wang Yi, for your speech, and also thanking for clinging to the 10 minutes. We appreciate that. You mentioned the international order, and this is something that also in my introductory remarks I highlighted the need to respect the UN Charter, and we see now a lot of questioning of this. We see Russia invading Ukraine. We have seen from the American president these last weeks where he threatened to use force invading Greenland and Panama, and also the displacement of Palestinians. And your country has been also accused of violating the law of the sea, also the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, you are traveling from here to New York to the Security Council. Do you continue to believe in the United Nations? Do you believe in the Charter of the UN? And will you work also for a reform of the UN Charter? How high is that on your priority?
Well, thank you for your question, Mr. Chairman. I think you mentioned two keywords. One is order, the other is rules. Now, talking about order, over the years, some have been saying that China is attempting to change the order, and China wants to start a new system. Now, we don't see much talk of that because now there is a country that is withdrawing from international treaties and organizations. And I think in Europe, you can feel chills almost every day. As for China, it is growing in the existing order. China is a beneficiary of the existing order. So what China is doing and will do is to, as most countries expected, to move the order in a more just and reasonable direction. Now, talking about rules, people might have different understanding of rules. But I think we can agree on the point that we need to safeguard the UN-centered international system, observe the basic norms governing international relations based on the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. And I think that's the biggest common denominator. As long as we recognize that point, there will not be double standards or the space for double standards. And for major regional and international issues, as Mr. Chairman said, we will have the same yardstick for judging them. China is well aware of the international responsibilities on its shoulders, and we are willing to provide more public goods to the international community. President Xi Jinping has proposed a series of major initiatives and propositions, including the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative. All of these are aimed at having the international community joining hands to address the growing development deficit, security deficit, and governance deficit we face today. And President Xi Jinping has proposed the major vision of building a community with a shared future for mankind. It is a very grand vision, and we hope to see that all countries will rise above the differences in histories, culture, systems, and ideologies, and work in solidarity to protect this planet, this only planet we all call home, and make the global village a better place where we share the same future. So this is a reflection of the international vision of the Communist Party of China. It is also a reflection of the fine traditional Chinese culture of thinking for the greater good. It has been receiving more support and recognition from the international community, and we will do more to contribute our part to realizing this vision. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the topics here since 22 has been Russia's invasion of Ukraine. At the MSC, just a few days before Russia's invasion, you stated, and I quote, "The sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of any country should be respected and safeguarded because it is a basic norm of international relations. Ukraine is no exception." So you confirmed the Charter of the United Nations. Now, today, Russia has become what John McCain once said here at the Munich Security Conference, China's gas station. I would add it's a gas station with an army. This means you have a lot of influence on Ukraine. Do you see a possibility now that there is more pressure and finally more pressure to finish this war, that from your end you could maybe do something on your side of the gas station and maybe cut the possibility of Russia to supply gas to your country, or lower the price, or stop some of the dual-use goods that are coming there, so that there is more pressure on Russia to finally finish this war?
China and Russia are two neighbors with a long borderline. In the past, our relations had gone through twists and turns, and then the two sides drew on lessons and decided no alliance, no confrontation, no targeting any third country. And based on our mutual trust, we built a comprehensive strategic partnership. So exchanges between China and Russia are normal exchanges between countries. You mentioned, can China stop buying gas from Russia? Well, I'd like to ask this. If China does not buy gas from Russia, which country can provide so much gas as to meet the needs of Chinese people? It's not possible. And it's not safe because, some countries tend to politicize economic and trade issues and treat them as a tool to suppress China. We cannot let that happen. We must be responsible to our people. That said, when it comes to regional hotspot issues, China has its own position. We have all along advocated that all disputes and disagreements should be settled through dialogue in a political way, because force and sanction cannot truly and completely solve the issue. It's the same goes for the Ukraine issue. From the day after the crisis broke out, which was the 25th of February 2022, China put forward the resolution through dialogue and consultation. President Xi Jinping put forth 4 points. It has been the most authoritative explanation of China's position. Namely, the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries should be respected. The purposes and principles of the UN Charter should be observed. The legitimate security concerns of all parties should be taken seriously, and all efforts conducive to peace should be supported. And following this as a guidance, we have been working to promote peace through talks. Even if there is only one ray of hope, we make 100% efforts. We have sent our special envoy to mediate in various countries. Together with Brazil and other global South countries, we launched the Group of Friends for Peace. Now, with the passing of time, we can say that China's position is fair, objective, and rational, and practical. They reflect the greatest common consensus of the international community. The ending point of any conflict is the negotiation table, and history will ultimately be fair. China would love to see all efforts conducive to peace, including over the past couple of days, the United States had reached common understanding with Russia. And we believe that all parties and all stakeholders should, at an appropriate time, participate in peace talks process. This war is happening on European soil, and Europe should play an important role in the process. To work together to address the root cause of the crisis and discuss how to achieve long-term stability and security of Europe, find a way that is acceptable to all sides to achieve just and balanced and sustainable European security architecture. Thank you.
Thank you. We have run out of time, but I would at least very briefly ask you to give us a sneak preview of how you think the relationship between US and China will develop.
I know this is on many people's minds. Here, I'd like to tell you that China's policy, US policy, is consistent and stable. We don't easily flip-flop. And this reflects our strategic constancy and international reputation as a major country. Our U.S. policy is the three principles put forward by President Xi Jinping, namely mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation. China and the U.S. have different systems, indeed, and they have been chosen by our peoples. To change or even overturn each other is unrealistic. The right approach is to respect each other. This is the premise for China-US engagement. And peaceful coexistence is self-evident. You can't have conflict between two major countries like China and the US. Otherwise, the world would suffer. So dialogue is needed, and we need to strengthen exchanges to boost understanding and build trust. Mutually beneficial cooperation is because the world expects us to cooperate, and global challenges require China and the US to work together to address. And this is the due responsibility of two major countries like China and the US. China is ready to, following these three principles, build stable, sound, and sustainable bilateral relations with the US and find the right way for these two major countries to live alongside each other on this planet. Of course, we hope that the U.S. will work in the same direction with us. However, if the U.S. is not willing, if it is bent on suppressing and containing China, then we have no choice but to play along to the end. We will resolutely uphold China's sovereignty, national dignity, and our legitimate development rights. And we will resolutely respond to unilateral bullying practices of the U.S. We do so also to maintain international fairness and justice, and to uphold basic norms of international relations. The Chinese people have never been swayed by fallacies or deterred by intimidation. The People's Republic of China has grown by overcoming various difficulties and obstacles. In China, there's this old saying, as heaven maintains its vigor through movement, a man of virtue constantly strives for self-perfection. In China, there's also a saying, very vivid. It goes, Let the strong do as they will. We remain as unperturbed as the gentle breeze harasses the hills. Let the fears act as they may. We maintain our poise as the bright moon illuminates the river. No matter which way the wind blows, north or south, east or west, we will remain calm and unshakable. I know this might not be the easiest to translate, and there might be different versions in terms of translation. We welcome discussions for more versions, and you might turn to DeepSeek for some help. All in all, we are fully confident about the prospects of the world, and we are fully confident about the future of China-U.S. relations. China and the U.S. have one direction to work for, and that is, as I mentioned repeatedly, mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation. And this is the greatest expectation of the international community as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Also for this proverb, we see if we have ChatGPT or so translating it. But I thought the English translation we got was pretty good. Thank you for being here. I sincerely hope also you can use the possibility of Munich to meet with representatives of the new U.S. administration. It would be very good that what you are also proposing, more talks and discussion on these issues, would materialize here in Munich. I wish you again good luck on your trip to New York, and thank you for being such a good guest here to the Munich Security Conference. Thank you for this. All the best.